Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch table. I'm your host, Evan, and today I am joined with Nick. And today we're going to do some NBA playoff predictions. The play-in starts tomorrow, and so we're going to be giving our predictions. But before we begin, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at lunchtable.takes. Without further ado, we'll head into the first play-in game. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference side of the bracket, Hawks versus Heat. Nick, I'll let you start this one off. Who do you got?
I think that all the playing games, especially the Eastern Conference ones, are kind of irrelevant. And this is one of them. I think I'll take the Hawks in this scenario. I don't think a 7 seed has ever lost their initial play-in game, but I'm gonna take the Hawks to be the team that kind of ends that streak. I just think Trae Young has performed better in these kinds of situations than Jimmy Butler and Miami have. And I think they kind of have something to prove. You know, they made the finals they made the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years ago. They've had a couple down seasons. I think that's where they kind of changed that. I'll take the Hawks in this game.
I'm going to go with the Heat. I think this team was just last season was in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, they've regressed pretty considerably, but I still think you got playoff Jimmy, who can definitely lead a team. You still got Bam, who's a defensive anchor down there. And then you got guys like, I know Kyle Lowry's been banged up. You still got Tyler Hero. Like, they still have a good team. And I think outside of Trae Young, I don't really love what the Hawks have. So I think that they're going to edge them out in like a close game. And then, yeah, I think they're going to move on to the 7th seed play the Celtics. Eastern Conference Finals.
It'll be a good game. I think it'll be a good game for sure.
That'll probably be one of the better games.
One of the better playing games.
So the next one is your Bulls versus the Raptors.
In this game, listen, I'm a Bulls fan, but I'm also a realistic Bulls fan. I know in a previous podcast we were talking about why the Bulls didn't just blow it up, like their assets are devaluing, and I think that the Raptors are just a significantly better team. In Toronto, I don't trust the Bulls to perform in this scenario, even with the addition of Pat Bev. I'll take the Raptors to win this game comfortably, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going Raptors as well. Like you said, the Bulls, outside of really Levine, don't have too much. Nick Nurse, I think, is a better coach. And then you got guys like Scotty Barnes, OG. You still got Siakam.
It's been kind of a lost season for Chicago, too.
Yeah.
I think Chicago is one of those teams that underperformed significantly. I just don't think their hearts are really, really into this play-in tournament as much as they probably should be.
Yeah, I agree. I was honestly surprised to even see them in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference just has no depth, but I think we'll get to that later.
Yeah. I think the Raptors, they'll win this one fairly easily. We got the next play-in game. So who do you have in that one?
Mine is Raptors Heat. I will take the Heat in this game. I think they're just more experienced. Like you said, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They've been to the finals in the past 5 years. Like, Jimmy Butler is a real thing. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing that you alluded to. I just think they're a better team than Toronto is. And they're playing in Miami. I'll take the Heat to close it out.
I have the Hawks and the Raptors, and I'm going to go with the Hawks. But I think it's going to be a good game because there's usually, at least since the play-in started, there's been one team that's a 9 or 10 seed that does squeak in. But I think, like you said, with the East, it's not very deep, and so I think there's a pretty significant drop off as you keep going down the list. So I'm going to have the Hawks edging this one out and getting the 8th seed.
Yeah. I think that the Heat and the Hawks are tier above the Bulls and the Raptors. I think it's going to be those two whatever order. I don't think it's going to be particularly close either.
Yeah. Yeah, the 9 and 10 really. Like the Bulls 40 and 42, Raptors 41 41. So like they're really
just kind of average.
Yeah. All right, now we can move into the actual playoffs.
Yeah, now we go to the actual playoffs.
Start off with the 1v8. You have Milwaukee and
I have Milwaukee playing Miami in this game.
Miami.
I don't think that this is a particularly great matchup for Milwaukee just because of the size that Miami does have in the interior. But that being said, I am going to take Milwaukee, and I'll go 6 games just because Miami has that playoff experience. I don't think the Bucks match up super well against Miami. So for that reason, I'll take the Bucks in 6 games here. But I mean, the Bucks have the best record in the league for a reason. They've got arguably the best player in the league in Giannis. Like they'll take care of business.
Yeah. I don't think. I think depending on what team it's, I think the most they'll give is 6. But I have Milwaukee and Atlanta, and I'm going to have this one going to Milwaukee in 5. I think Atlanta will steal 1 just because I feel like Trae Young will just have a game where he drops like 40 something.
Yeah, he's due for that at least one time in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll snag 1. But this Bucks team is miles ahead of this Hawks team. Like you said, they have Giannis, who's a MVP candidate again. You got Chris Middleton's fully healthy this time, which is big, obviously. Drew Holiday's still there. He's had one of his better seasons. I think this Milwaukee team is one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. And I think they're going to put light work in with whoever they play at the 8th seed. All right. 4-5 Cavs and Knicks.
Cavs Knicks. This is one of the most intriguing first round matchups that we have. Julius Randle and the Knicks, kind of a bounce back year compared to what they did last season. I don't even think they made the play-ins last season, which I don't know if anyone could even predict that. And this Cavs team, who's got a core that's going to make some real noise here in about 2-3 years, I feel like. So both teams that are kind of on the up and up, and both teams that kind of surpassed expectations based on what was initially like predicted of them coming into the year. This is hard. I'm gonna take the Cavs. I think I'll take them in 7. These two teams went back and forth throughout the entire regular season, but I mean Donovan Mitchell, and arguably Evan Mobley, although you could say Julius Randle. I would say Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley are better than anything the Knicks can throw at them. And also the Cavs defense has been really good, and you kind of need that to succeed in the postseason. I think it's going to be a really good series, but I think that the guys the Cavs have will make a few more shots than the Knicks. I'll take the Cavs in 7.
I'm going to give Cavs in 6. I think, like you said, they have the 2 best players in Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Their defense is one of the best in the league, with Evan Mobley being a Defensive Player of the Year candidate and then Jared Allen being the defender he is. And I just think Garland and Garland and Mitchell are going to just completely ball out. And I think it's going to be bittersweet for the Knicks because like they got the New York kid Mitchell, who all Knicks fans thought they were going to get, and now he's beating you in the playoffs. I think it's going to be the irony there. I think it's pretty good.
I forgot about that. The Knicks were one of the front runners to land Donovan Mitchell last offseason, so they're kind of they want revenge, but I mean, still.
I just think this Cavs team, they've been hot. I think they're miles better, or not miles better, but I think it's going to be one of the better series. But we're going to give the edge to Cleveland there.
Yeah, I was talking about.
All right, now we got Philly and Brooklyn 3-6.
I think Philadelphia is going to make light work of this series. I'm going to take the Sixers in 5. I mean, I think that this is a poor matchup for the Nets. especially with everything they've lost around the trade deadline. Really, the only reason the Nets are even this high up is because of what they did before the trade deadline. They kind of floated above water until the end of the regular season. But, I mean, Joel Embiid, he might win his first MVP, which I don't know if it's deserved this year, but based on the way his career has gone and the stats he's put up, it's fully deserved. James Harden, it still worries me about his playoff struggles, but I think we'll get to that in a little bit. I mean, he's still one of the best guards in the league. And yeah, I think the Sixers team is way too much for this next Nets team to even compete with.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the Sixers win this one in 4. Have them sweeping them. Like you said, I don't think this Nets team is not where they were pre-trade deadline. And most of their success was pre-trade deadline. They got guys like Nicholas Claxton and
Dale
Bridges, who have been really good, but it's nothing compared to Joel Embiid, who's an MVP candidate, arguably MVP front runner. James Harden, who had a really good season this year.
He did.
And then you got Tyrese Maxey on top of that. You still have Tobias Harris. I just think that Sixers team is really deep and really good, and I think they're going to make light work with Brooklyn.
Yeah, Philadelphia is really, really good.
They are.
Like, they're really good. It's a shame that they play with Milwaukee and Boston because I think they could have been the best team in the West if they were in the West this year. This Philly team can make a deep, deep playoff run.
Yeah, I really like Philly. I think with obviously, like Harden has his up and downs in the playoffs, but I think he's been playing really well lately, and I think he can kind of turn that narrative around, at least for a series.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now we got Boston, and you had
I have Atlanta. Yeah, I think the Celtics are gonna sweep the Hawks if this happens. I mean, I like you said, I don't love the Hawks roster. Top to bottom, and there's no chance that they're going to be able to keep up with the Boston team, who's arguably the best in the Eastern Conference. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That team is loaded. Peyton Pritchard, when he finally gets a starting role somewhere, he's going to explode. But the fact that they have him coming off the bench, they've got Sixth Man of the Year and Malcolm Brogdon. Like, that team is loaded from top to bottom, and I don't think Atlanta can even come anywhere near what Boston has to offer. I think Boston's going to sweep that series.
Yeah, Boston's a powerhouse. I have them going against Miami. I have them winning in 5. Miami is a better team, but I just think the star power between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is going to overwhelm them. Grant Williams can play he can play defense 3 through 5. He's an excellent defender. You got Marcus Smart, who can lock up guys like Jimmy Butler, guys like Tyler Hero. And then, like you said, they have Brogdon coming off the bench there as 6 man. You got Robert Williams. I think their team is just complete. And like I said last year, their team is built to win in the playoffs. And I think they're going to continue that. And I think it's going to start with making pretty light work here with who they play with the 7th seed.
They're going to know after tomorrow, too. They're going to have a little bit to prepare for whoever they're playing, and I think that front office is going to get them ready to go for that series.
Yeah, for sure. All right, second round.
I think we both have Bucks, Cavs, and then Sixers, Celtics.
Yeah, that's probably what most people have.
Yeah. Bucks, Cavs. I don't know if you're gonna like this. I'm gonna take the Bucks in 5. In this game, I just don't think the Cavs are quite there yet. And I wouldn't be shocked if they lose to the Knicks in the first round. I think that Knicks team is built to tell the team like Cleveland. But I think Milwaukee they're on a mission. They're built to win. Giannis wants his second ring, like for sure. He wants it bad. And I don't think that Cavs team is going to be able to put up much of a resistance in that fight against Milwaukee. I'll take Milwaukee in 5.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee will definitely win this series. I'm gonna. I'll say 5 as well. I think they do match up decently with them. I think Evan Mobley on Giannis is a good matchup. Um, and the only issue is I feel like True Holiday is going to have to be the X factor in that series. I
Yeah.
think with his defense, I think he can slow down Mitchell, and then it's going to rest on Garland's shoes. And like you said, this Cavs team is good, but they're not there
They're not
yet.
quite there yet. Give them a couple years and they could be really, really scary.
Yeah. And it does suck that their second round matchup is with the powerhouse that is the Milwaukee Bucks. But yeah, I think this is where the Cavs in their season. Yeah, I agree. They have a good bright future. They keep building on it, keep progressing. But this Bucks team is a juggernaut. And like you said, Giannis is hungry for that second ring. And so I think the Bucks will make work of the Cavs.
Yeah.
Seven.
Unfortunately.
Sixers and Celtics. This is
All
always a good.
Yeah, this is always a great matchup. I'm gonna make this clear, right? This Sixers team is not the Sixers teams of old. Okay. They have shown this year that they can compete at the highest level. Like I said earlier, I think if they were in the West, they could have arguably been the best team in the West. But the playoff struggles from James Harden and from Joel Embiid and from that team are real, right? I know Ben Simmons isn't on that team anymore, but a lot of those players remember how they choked against Atlanta a couple years ago in that Eastern Conference semifinals. And Boston, they know what it's like to be in the finals. That team is incredibly loaded. But the thing is, I think Philadelphia has the best player in the series in Joel Embiid. So it's like he could single-handedly win that series on his own. I'm still going to take Boston. I can't pick against them in that scenario. I'll take him in 7. I think it's going to be a really, really good series. But I'll go with the Celtics there.
Yeah, I'm going Boston 7 as well. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Like the Sixers team is very good, but there is always that thought in the back of your mind that Embiid and Harden historically haven't been the best playoff closers.
Yeah.
And against a team like the Celtics, you let them get like a couple of game lead on you, and you're done.
Yeah.
And so I think with the Game 7 being in Boston, I think it's going to be a huge for that series. And I think Joel Embiid is going to have a phenomenal series. Like you said, he's the best player in the series. But I think Tatum and Brown are going to do what Tatum and Brown have done since last playoff run and continue on this year and just dominate. And I think it's going to be a great series, probably one of the best playoff series, like other than obviously like the conference finals. I think it's going to be a super competitive series.
It's going to be one of the best second round series we've had in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Boston and Philly always goes at each other. It's always a fun series. So yeah, but I think Boston's just too good. I think that Philly's going to go down in 7, but I'm excited for that series.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, ECF, Bucks, Celtics.
Bucks, Celtics. You want to talk about teams going at each other? This could be one of the rivalries of the next decade. Watching that second round series last year was something. I don't want to sound like an old head, but something straight out of the 90s at times. Those teams were scrapping and fighting and clawing at each other for 7 games, and it ended up Chris Middleton being hurt. I think hurt the Bucks offensively, and that's where they lost that series. I don't think it's going to be the same result. I think that this Bucks team is on a mission. Like I said earlier, I think Giannis wants his second ring. I think they remember the sting of Game 7 in Boston last year. And if it were to get to a Game 7, it'll be in Milwaukee, and that place will be bouncing. But I don't think it's going to get to a Game 7. I think I'm going to take Milwaukee in 6 in this series.
I'm gonna have Milwaukee in 7. I think Boston does push them to their limits, but like you said, at home, Game 7 in Milwaukee, Giannis is the type of player to just take over a game, and I think Giannis is gonna
He's a
have,
behemoth.
absolutely, and I think Giannis is gonna have a type of game that he had in was it the
Game 6 of the finals where he dropped 51. Legacy type game.
yeah, I think Giannis is going to have that type of game in Game 7. He's going to rise up to the occasion, and I think that's gonna be like how like I guess right now how like the Bengals and Chiefs have been just two really high-powered teams going at each other, and like you
Yeah.
never know.
Clear superstars all
Yeah.
over the place.
It's going to be a great series, but I think Milwaukee is going to edge them out. And another reason why is because to close the season, Boston didn't have the greatest ending of the season.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of games that they definitely should have won. They got back on track a little bit these last couple of games, but I just think they kind of slipped a little bit in my head, and I think Milwaukee's just been dominant all year, and just Giannis's versatility on offense and defense is unmatched. And like you said, it's 90s basketball basically, and that caters directly.
It's 90s basketball with better outside shooting in this series.
But I think we're gonna see Celtics and Bucks a lot in the foreseeable future.
For sure.
So we both got Bucks.
I think we both have the exact same Eastern Conference.
I think
Apart from who like the 1 and 2 seeds are playing. Other than that, I think it's the exact same in terms of who's advancing.
Yeah, we'll recap it real quick.
Yeah.
So I have the Bucks beating the Hawks, the Cavs beating the Knicks, the Sixers beating the Nets, and then the Celtics beating the Heat. And then I have Bucks beating Cavs, Celtics beating Sixers, and then Bucks beating Celtics in the ECF. Moving on to the finals.
Yeah, I've got Bucks over Heat, Cavs over Knicks, Sixers over Nets, Celtics over Hawks, and then Bucks over Cavs, Celtics over Sixers, and then Bucks over Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, well, I feel like the East is fairly straightforward.
It's a lot more cut and dry than
the
West is.
Yeah, so I feel like most people will probably have what we had. I don't think anything. I mean, you never know, but I don't think anything too crazy is going to happen. But we'll move on to the Wild West.
Yeah,
this is an unknown. The West is significantly worse than the East this year, in my opinion. The top-heavy teams have a lot of question marks.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's gonna kind of teeter what we think how it's gonna go. But
I don't know about significantly worse. I would say that the top teams are not as good as the top teams in the East, but in terms of top to bottom in a conference,
top to bottom,
say it's a lot better than the East in terms of depth.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. We'll move straight into it with the Lakers and the Timberwolves playing game 7v8.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Lakers in this game. I mean, LeBron is a machine. There's not really a whole lot else to say. He's dropping top 5 player in the league numbers at the age of 38. And they're finally, if they can stay healthy, Anthony Davis is playing super well. Their role players are performing like they should. Their defense since the All-Star break has been, I think, the best in the league. And they're just a significantly better team than the Timberwolves. I think I'll take the Lakers in this game. I don't think it's going to be close either.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Lakers are going to win pretty handily. And like you said, this Lakers team has gelled a lot lately. When AD's healthy, they're a completely different team. AD's been on a tear since LeBron was out, and even with LeBron coming back, he's still been playing well. The role players have been stepping up tremendously. Jared Vanderbilt has been great on defense. Austin Reeves has come out of nowhere and become a great role player for them.
Yeah.
You got D'Lo, Malik Beasley. They got guys now, and you got to credit that trade deadline, man. They fixed a ton
And
of
knocked it out of
holes.
the park.
Absolutely knocked it out of the park, and that's why. I mean, what were they, a 13 seed going?
Yeah,
into
they were 13 seed in like February, I
into-
think.
Yeah, and they ended at a 7th seed, and very, very well could have been the 6th seed if they would have won that Clippers game. But yeah, I think also another reason, all the stuff that happened to Minnesota yesterday with
Yeah, with Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert punching Kyle Anderson, he's suspended for the game, and then Jaden McDaniels punching a
Fracturing
wall
his
and
hand in the
fracturing
locker
his hand. That's just 2 big blows defensively for Minnesota, and I don't think Cat has the ability to really like carry that team. I mean, Ant probably could, but I think there's too much going on in Minnesota right now. I think it's going to be pretty easy for the Lakers. But yeah, the Timberwolves just imploded yesterday.
Yeah, I remember I was playing a cornhole with my family, and I came inside, and I switched to NBA TV because it had the coverage of all the games, and I saw that Rudy Gobert punched Kyle Anderson, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a game before the playoffs start. Like, this is the absolute worst possible time, and
Yeah.
like it was kind of funny. It
was hilarious.
To be full on honest with you.
It was hilarious. Well, I think the worst part of that wasn't even Gobert. It was McDaniels fracturing the pan, punching a wall. Like, that hurts them.
He's a big piece for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, so that hurts them. Like, you could go without Gobert. Like, that obviously wouldn't, like, it hurts, but like you could do it. But without those two, and I think Nas Reed's not going to play either. So
I think he's out too.
So they're going to be pretty low. I think 80's going to have a field day.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
All right, moving on to 9-10 Pelicans and Thunder.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the Thunder in this game. I think the Pelicans losing yesterday, I think they also have a bunch of question marks regarding Zion and what the future with that's going to look like. And Shea is a dog. Shea is crazy. I think most people regard him as a top 20, 25 player in the NBA. I think even that's kind of underselling him. He's going to be an absolute stud in this league. He's the only reason the Thunder are even in this spot. Once Chet Holmgren went down, people were predicting them to finish like 12th, 13th in the West, and they're 10th because of his outstanding play. The Thunder are a team that's playing with house money, and that can be dangerous at times, especially when you catch lightning in a bottle. I'm going to take the Thunder in this game.
I'm going to go Thunder as well. The main reason being that I'm pretty sure Zion's doubtful for this game if he hasn't been ruled out already. But without Zion, the Pelicans, like you said, have a lot of question marks. They've struggled lately, and Shea has been phenomenal this season, averaging over 30 points a game. He's been an absolute bucket. Then you got Josh Giddey, who's been phenomenal as well.
Ultimate Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, then you got Jalen Williams, the rookie, who's had a great season. And like you said, they're playing with house money, and they got nothing to lose.
No, they don't.
They don't need to like lose to get a better draft pick. They have plenty of them, so they're just playing just to play. And like you said, lightning in the bottle, and I think that's gonna help them out a lot. And I think the Thunder team is underrated, and I like their team a lot. They're a fast, young, fun team led by Shea, who's a phenomenal talent, and I think that's what you need. And I think they're going to beat the Pelicans. All right. So do we both
Thunder? Yeah.
both have Timberwolves Thunder? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm riding with the Thunder here. Again, they're playing with house money and everything that's going on with the Timberwolves. I genuinely think Minnesota sports teams might be cursed. Because I can't recall something like that happening a couple days before the playoffs start. I think if that didn't happen, I think I might take the Timberwolves here, but the fact of the matter is that it did. And again, the Thunder are playing with house money. I think Shea is the best player on the court by a country mile. And in games like that, you need your players to step up in one-game eliminations. So I'm going to take the Thunder in that game too.
I'm going to take the Thunder as well. Like I said, I really like their team. Their only thing that does worry me is their defense is horrible. Like their defense is very bad. But with McDaniels not being there, and then obviously Gobert will be back by that point. I just think the Timberwolves have too much firepower. I think Shea is going to get like 40, and I think they'll sneak into that 8 seed to face the Nuggets. Speaking of the Nuggets,
We'll
start
with that series.
Thunder and Nuggets.
Yeah, I think this is where the Thunder's run comes to an end. Unfortunately, like you said, their defense is really bad. And Nikola Jokic might be the best offensive player in the league. And that's just not a good combination. I think for that alone, I'll take the Nuggets in 5. I think Shea's good enough to where he'll be able to steal a game. But in terms of talent and roster building, I mean, Michael Porter Jr. He doesn't ever pass the ball, but he's a bucket. Jamal Murray's back from injury. Do they still have Aaron Gordon? Yes, they still have Aaron Gordon, right? Yeah, he's a good defensive piece. And he can put on a highlight reel at any moment. And I think the Thunder have a bright future. I think getting to the 8 seed will be really good for them. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just a terrible matchup for them. So I'll take the Nuggets here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Nuggets in 4. I think the main reason being that the Thunder's defense is bad, and they don't have anybody to guard Jokic whatsoever. And like you said, Jokic is very well could win his 3rd straight MVP.
He's my MVP for this year.
He's the type of player that we've never seen before. The way he can pass the ball, the way he can just move on offense as a big man is something that we've never seen in the NBA before. And you got playoff Murray. I think he's going to step up because he's been since his injury, he's been good, but not where he was pre-injury. I think he's going to step it up. Michael Porter Jr., like you said, when he gets hot, he's hot, and he's not going to miss. But like you said, he doesn't pass.
He doesn't ever pass the ball. He doesn't need to. You have Jokic and Jamal Murray on that team,
and he doesn't take it. He never takes an open shot.
No, it's all contested,
which is hilarious. But yeah, I think this Nuggets team is just too good for the Thunder. The Thunder are young and inexperienced, and like the Nuggets have been there before, and I think that's going to be a big reason. So I have them sweeping them. Now, this is going to be a fun series. This next one we got here, the 4-5 with the Suns and the Clippers.
Yeah. It's going to be real interesting. But the big question mark here is how available is Paul George going to be? I think if Paul George was fully healthy, this could be a 7-game series. But he's not. I think they said he's going to miss at least the first game or 2 of that series. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Suns in 6 games. I mean, that team might have the best starting 5 in the NBA. And I think that's going to shine in this series against the Clippers team. I think this might be the Clippers' first real run. No, they had Paul George and Kawhi back in 21.
They went. I mean, are you saying like first run with PG and Kawhi?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say they went on that run a couple years ago.
Yeah, they went to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago with Paul George and Kawhi.
Kawhi didn't play.
Yeah. So this could be their first real opportunity, but I don't know how available Paul George is going to be. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Suns in 6.
I'm going to take the Suns in 6 as well. I think the Paul George injury is going to be huge. And like you said, the Suns have the best starting 5 in basketball, probably, with Chris Paul, Devin Booker. You got Kevin Durant. Who's their power forward? Or do they put Kevin Durant in the power forward? Whatever.
It doesn't really matter.
Like that team, and haven't they, since KD's been there or played, they haven't lost, right?
In games that KD has played, I don't believe so. I don't think he played
in games in games that KD's played, they have not lost. So I just think the Suns team is nasty. They're getting, as long as they can stay healthy, they can definitely make a big run. And I mean that begs the question for like the Clippers, like what do you do from here? Like this is going to be the 3rd season where you've gone into the playoffs really without one of your star players. And I mean, that begs the question, like what's the ceiling for this team now? Like, other than them going to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago, they've been disappointing. I mean, when they first got together, PG and Kawhi, like they were supposed to run
the
the
finals.
West
Yeah.
with the Lakers, and it hasn't happened. So for the Clippers, like Paul George and Kawhi are both in their mid 30s, so they're not getting any younger. And like what do they do from there if they do kind of have a bad showing here in this first round? I think the Clippers will go in with some question marks
For
on this
sure.
next offseason, like whether they trade Kawhi or they trade PG or what.
Give it
But
one last roll of the dice, you know. I don't.
yeah, they got to do something, or the Clippers are just cursed.
Yeah, that might be a case too.
But yeah, I think I do agree. If Paul George was there, I think this series could go the distance. But with him probably missing 2 to 3 games, and even when he comes back, might not be fully healthy because it was a pretty bad leg injury. So we'll see. Up next,
Speaking of cursed teams,
speaking of cursed teams, we have the Kings and the Warriors. 3-6.
I think the Kings are one of the greatest stories in sports just in general this year. And that first game is going to be rocking.
I'm pretty sure it's already like sold out.
Yeah, that first game. I think it's the nightcap on Saturday, which is like really cool. And for that reason, I'm gonna take the Kings to win that game. And then the Warriors to win the last 4. I'll take the Warriors in 5. The Kings are one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and the Warriors are the defending champions. I know that they haven't been able to win on the road consistently. I know some players have been out, but they still have Clay, Steph, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green. They've got championship pedigree, and the Kings have set themselves up for a bright road ahead. At least more bright than 21 straight years without a playoff appearance, but I just think the Warriors are too good. I'll take the Warriors in 5.
Yeah. Let's just give the Kings a round of applause.
Let's give them their flowers
for breaking, what was it, 18?
I think it was 20. Was it 21 years? I thought their last year was in
Last one was 2002, right? Yeah. Their 21-year playoff drought, which was the most in any professional sport. So hats off to the Kings for finally making it. But sadly, they got matched up with.
This is the worst possible matchup for them in the first round.
So I think it's going to go in 6 just because I think the Warriors, they've been abysmal on the road. Historically one of the worst road teams
in the league,
in recent history.
Yeah.
And I think the Kings, they got some fire now. They're like, all right, like we're legit. We're a 3 seed. Like we're here. And like you said, those first 2 games in Sacramento are going to be rocking. The stadium's going to be electric. And I think that's going to boost them to push through. But then I think
they got to go back to Golden State after that point, though.
I think you got Steph, Jordan Poole, you still have Draymond, you got Clay. Like they're as long as you have Steph and Clay, the Warriors are going to be good.
Yes.
As long as they're both healthy, the Warriors are going to be good. And sadly, the Kings just aren't there yet. But it's a good building block. They've completed their mission of making it to the playoffs. Mike Brown is a heck of a coach. Should be up for coach of the year.
Yeah.
And he's a former Warriors assistant, so he might know little tips and tricks up his sleeve. But yeah, I think for Kings fans, you just got to be happy that you're there, and you got to build on that. But I'm going to take the Warriors here in 6.
Yeah.
And then we got Grizzlies and Lakers, right?
Yeah, Grizzlies, Lakers. I think this is going to be the best series of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I think both these teams kind of have something to prove. With all the stuff that's gone on with John Morant and Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is kind of the villain of the NBA. Everyone kind of hates him. I also kind of hate him, but I think guys like him are good for the league.
I agree.
If that makes any sense. But I'm gonna take the Lakers in this series. I'm gonna take the Lakers in 7. I think that LeBron. I mean, I don't think LeBron needs to prove anything else to anyone, but I think he feels like he has more to prove to people. And a fully healthy Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves shining as of late. Their role players are starting to blossom. And I think it might be a little bit of a shocker to people, but LeBron's been here time and time again. Anthony Davis has been here numerous times. This might be an AD legacy series, especially without Steven Adams in the interior. And I think I'll take the Lakers in 7 games here.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Lakers in 7 as well. I think it's going to be an absolute battle. But as with AD being healthy, that's huge for the Lakers. It's something they haven't had in recent years. LeBron is playing some of the best basketball that he's played
of his career.
Yeah.
At 38,
which is unreal. And then, like we mentioned, they actually nailed the trade deadline, so they got good role players. And honestly, if this team fully healthy reminds me a lot of that 2020 team with AD and LeBron balling out, and then you just have good role players around them. But obviously, the league's changed, circumstances have changed. I don't think they're gonna make a finals run, but I think they're gonna do enough to get past the Grizzlies. Like you said, the Grizzlies have been under drama for the last probably month or two of the NBA season. But I think Ja Morant is still Ja Morant, one of the best young talents in the league. He's an absolute beast. You still have Desmond Bane, who shoots the 3-point shot at a high clip. Dylan Brooks, like you said, is like the villain. He plays the villain role. He can play defense. And you got Jaren Jackson Jr., who I believe is the defensive player of the year. He's a phenomenal defender. And yes, losing Steven Adams is going to hurt them, but I think Jaren Jackson's going to be able to kind of make that not as bad. But I still think I'm running with the Lakers here. I have them winning in 7. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great series. All right, now we got Suns and Nuggets in the second round.
Suns Nuggets. This is any one of these 4 teams left. Suns, Nuggets, Warriors, Lakers could win the Western Conference.
Mhm.
Okay, I fully 100% believe that. This series is going to be incredible. And Jokic, like we said, is the best offensive player. I think he's the best offensive player in the league currently.
Mhm.
But he is a defensive liability. Okay. And you are playing a guy in Kevin Durant who has one of the highest scoring floors in NBA history, right? He's 7 foot, handles the ball like a guard.
Mhm.
The Suns starting 5 is absolutely loaded. The one thing is, because injuries always happen, if someone on Phoenix gets hurt, it could derail their entire train.
Mhm.
These 2 teams, I think, are under the most pressure to win rings this year. Because like with Denver, they're finally the 1 seed. They have everyone back healthy. Jokic might win another MVP. He's still playing that MVP-esque level. And then Phoenix put all their chips in to get Kevin Durant. So I feel like they have to win a title while they have him too, or else it's a complete failure. Man, this is hard. I think I'm gonna take Phoenix. I think I'm gonna take Phoenix in 7 because I don't trust Jokic on defense. I don't trust the Nuggets' defensive abilities at times, and I think that Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, he's not on Jokic's level, but I feel like he's still an adequate big man to kind of cause them issues. And barring injury, I think obviously if one of them gets hurt, I'll take the Nuggets in this series. But I'm going to take the Suns in 7, I think. I think it's going to be really, really, really tight.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those really good second round series. I'm going to have the Suns winning in 6. I just think the biggest knock on Jokic in his career so far has been he can't win in the playoffs. And I think that team of the Suns, like you said, barring injury, the offense of superpower is unbelievable. They like Devin Booker can get you. Oh, what did he average? Like 27 a game or something like that. Durant was averaging 30. DeAndre Ayton's obviously not what he was, but he's still a really good interior defender, and I think he's going to cause Jokic some problems. You still have Chris Paul, who obviously is older, but he can still move the ball well. And I just think this Phoenix team, like you said, like they're built to make a finals run, and that's what they put all their chips in to get Kevin Durant. And I just think they're going to be able to outman that Denver team. That Denver team is good. Don't get me wrong; they're a great team, but I still think they need one more piece to really kind of push them over the edge. And I think the Suns, with giving Kevin Durant, is massive. And I think, in my opinion, I think they're the best team in the West. And so for that reason, I'm going to have them winning in 6. We got, Lakers and Warriors.
Right.
This is
I'm gonna take the Lakers in this series. I really am. For one reason and one reason only, I trust their ability to win on the road more than I trust the Warriors' ability to win on the road this year. I think if it comes down to it, if the Lakers have to steal a game in Golden State to win that series, I trust them to do that more than I trust Golden State regaining home court advantage back. And I think I'll take the Lakers in 6. I think they will be able to steal one in Golden State, and then kind of be able to protect home court advantage. And again, barring injury, that, like you said, that Lakers team reminds you a lot of that 2020 team with still prime AD, LeBron playing at an absolutely phenomenal level. And yeah, I think I'll take the Lakers in this series. That might be a shocker, but
not a shocker to me because I'm going to go with the Lakers in 6 as well. Yeah, like I said, I get a lot of 2020 vibes from this team, and I think the only thing that is going to derail them is injuries. But really, this is the AD series. This is the series that AD, for them to win,
this entire playoff run is going to be an AD playoff run.
Yes, well, it's about time because the last 2 years he hasn't even been like present, basically. But the biggest knock for the Warriors since they've been what they've been since 2015 has been their center has always been a question mark. And I think AD, when AD is healthy, AD is a top 10 player in the NBA when healthy. And
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
It's when healthiest. That's
the keyword, when healthy.
Hasn't been healthy recently, and I just think he's going to absolutely dominate. And LeBron's going to get some revenge here. LeBron, obviously, the Warriors have been a thorn in his side this last
his latter half of his career.
Yeah, and so I think this Warriors team is not what they once were, and I think also being on the road, I think it's going to hurt them a lot because they're not very good on the road. But yeah, I'm going to go the Lakers in 6. I like this Lakers team. I was very skeptical of them, but I absolutely loved what they did in the trade deadline. And that's, I think, I ultimately think that's going to catapult them in because their role players are just better than what.
All right, so congrats on the Nuggets and the Warriors for making it to the Western Conference Finals. Jokic is going to improve defensively. Steph Curry is going to have another legacy series. It's just
Steph's going to average like 40 a game.
Yeah, he's going to average 40 a game. And we don't make the rules. This is just how it is.
AD is going to like twist his ankle like game 1 and then not play.
Just not play the rest of the series. It's going to be 2018 Finals all over again with LeBron.
All right, so we got Suns and Lakers.
Lakers
Finals.
I think this series is going to be a lot closer than people will initially give it credit for. I have a feeling you're going to pick Phoenix in this series. Because you said you don't think the Lakers are going to make a finals run.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I'm going to take Phoenix in this series as well, just because their starting five is so unbelievably good. And I don't think like DeAndre Ayton is a competent center. He is a quality center, unlike whoever the Warriors are going to put up against Anthony Davis. And again, barring injury, I just think the Suns have a more balanced front five or starting five. And I don't think the role players of the Lakers on their bench and their depth are going to be able to make up enough ground to beat the Suns in the 7-game series. I'll take the Suns in 6.
I'm gonna have the Suns in 6 as well.
Great, awesome.
Yeah, I think this is where the Lakers run ends. And I think the major reason is going to be because of Devin Booker. I think the Lakers can match up with KD as well as you can match up with KD. And I think Ayton and AD, that's going to be a good matchup. But I don't see anybody on that team that can really take Devin Booker out of the game. And I think this is going to be one where obviously you can never take KD out of the game, but
Right.
I think this is going to be a series where Devin Booker takes over. I think for the rest of the playoffs thing, it's going to be the KD show. I think KD, if he stays healthy throughout this entire playoffs, I think he's going to be the main reason why they're winning their games.
Yeah.
And Booker will kind of be like the second player to that. But I think this Western Conference Finals, Booker's going to step up, and I think they're going to win. They're going to win in 6, but it's going to be a great series.
Booker needs to after Luka embarrassed him.
Yeah, that's true.
In the Western Conference semifinals last year.
That's true.
He kind of needs a series like that to get his narratives back to where they should be.
Yeah, we should probably talk about the Mavericks, not in this podcast, but in a later one, because that's a big storyline right there.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be in a future one here soon. But so yeah, we got a rematch of the 2021 finals.
Bucks, Suns.
Bucks and Suns. But before we do that, let's just recap what we got in the Western Conference. So I'll start. I got the Nuggets beating the Thunder, the Suns beating the Clippers, the Warriors beating the Kings, and the Lakers beating the Grizzlies. And I have the Suns beating the Nuggets, Lakers beating the Warriors, and then the Suns beating the Lakers to move on to the NBA Finals to play the Bucks.
Yeah, again, I've got Nuggets over Thunder. I think it's the exact same. Nuggets over Thunder, Suns over Clippers, Warriors over Kings, Lakers over Grizzlies, Suns over Nuggets, Lakers over Warriors, and then Suns over Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
There's no be different this time.
Nah, that would be different this time. Well, the NBA is the one sport where like
It's pretty straightforward.
it's pretty straightforward in terms of who is
Like there's usually not like a ton of upsets.
there's like maybe one upset per entire postseason.
Yeah.
Unless you count like final series upsets, but I don't because they're both teams in the finals. Like last year, I wouldn't even say the Celtics over the Nets was an upset. I would say that the Celtics sweeping the Nets was kind of like the big
That was
shocker of that postseason. And then the year before, it was like Hawks over Sixers, and that was the big one. But other than that, the NBA is kind of straightforward. So no be different with this one.
It's crazy to think now, like the Nets look completely different from what they did a year ago. Steve Nash is gone, KD, Kyrie gone. Like,
they're a whole new team.
They're a completely new team. Just crazy. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I'm sure you agree. I think that's one of the biggest failed super teams.
Yeah, in NBA history. I think it's worse than when the Lakers got Dwight Howard and Steve Nash.
Yeah, because those guys, like, obviously they were good, but they were towards the end of their careers.
Yeah, they were out of their primes.
Like
although they also missed the playoffs entirely.
That's true. But I mean, you have Harden, KD, and
Kyrie Irving
and
all in their
Kyrie,
prime.
and they played what 15 games together or something like that,
Yeah.
and
Although,
then they got swept, had to trade Harden. Like, just
yeah,
the whole-
in fairness, I do think if KD's shoe size was half a size smaller
yeah, that's true.
in the 2021 series against Milwaukee, the Nets
We're-
probably win the
we're-
finals.
Yeah, we're not having this conversation.
Yeah.
The butterfly effect of KD's shoe size would send a rippling effect through the
It
entire.
would shake up the entire NBA.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, speaking of the 2021 finals, we got a rematch of that, Suns and Bucks. So who are you going to have winning
Yeah.
the 2023 NBA finals?
Again, no be different. I'm going to take, I think it's the same outcome as the 2021 finals. I'm going to take the Bucks, and I don't know if this series is going to be particularly close. I think Milwaukee is that good this year. Giannis is, I think he's going to finish top 3 in MVP voting. I think it's, at least now, it's a very clear Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, and then everyone else.
Yeah.
He's going to finish top 3 in MVP voting. He's probably still the best player in basketball, even though he's probably not going to win the MVP in terms of top to bottom and all facets of his game. And yeah, Giannis can match up really well with Kevin Durant. Giannis is one of those guys that I think can slow down Kevin Durant a little bit. And assuming they still have Chris Middleton, he's going to add a whole nother depth to that series. But I think a real X factor is going to be Drew Holiday. If the 2021 playoff run wasn't enough, this might be a Drew Holiday legacy series in terms of he's going to go down as one of the most underrated players of the past decade and a half in the league. And I don't trust the Suns' depth at this point. They might be a little bit banged up because I think the Suns are going to have 2 or 3 playoff series where they're fighting and clawing for every game, and I think the only real one for Milwaukee is going to be Boston. Plus, they're going to have home court, so I think I'm going to take Milwaukee in 5. And I'll say Drew Holiday wins Finals MVP. Drew Holiday Legacy Series.
Finals MVP. All right. This is a tough one for me. I like both teams, but I think I'm going to go Bucks and 6. I think I just have a feeling that at some point, kind of like you said, one of the Suns players is going to go down. Like, it's either going to be like Chris Paul or KD, or one of their major players is going to not be 100% going into the finals. I just have a feeling, because just history aside, like, that's kind of what's happened.
Yeah.
But I think Giannis is just that good. Like, he's going to cement himself as one of the best power forwards ever after this series. I mean, he's phenomenal. I think he's going to win Finals MVP. But I just think the Bucks have more depth, which I think is going to outduel what the Suns have with their first 5. But I think it's going to be a great series. And Chris Paul, once again, is going to be this close to winning.
Yeah. Kevin Durant. This is allegedly. I think the basketball gods think that Kevin Durant sold his soul to get 2 rings and 2 Finals MVPs of the Warriors, and they're never going to allow him to win again.
Never going to allow him to win.
Never going to allow him to win again.
It's a fair point.
And yeah, I think that's another reason why I'm going to take Milwaukee in this series. I'm not going to say I can't respect Kevin Durant for what he did with Golden State, but I also can't respect Kevin Durant for what he did with Golden State.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another reason. But yeah, I just think Milwaukee is too good. And it's similar to how the NFL went, where they had one little blip year where some new stars emerged and a team from California ended up winning, and now we're back to regularly scheduled programming, which is the best player in the league doing best player in the league things and leading their team to championships.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. We got the NBA's winding down here. We got the NFL draft coming up in 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks from Thursday.
NFL draft coming up 2 weeks. So yeah, we're getting close to that kind of dead period after the NBA is done. But we got baseball starting up, which is fun. But yeah, so exciting stuff. Nick, thanks for coming on.
Thanks
You always
for having me. It's
always
a
got to get you
pleasure.
on the prediction ones.
Yeah.
Even though this
Listen,
one was probably
this
the
one
most
wasn't too
anticlimactic one that we've had so far,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Listen, I promise you, my takes they're not going anywhere. Don't worry.
They'll be back soon.
For sure. Always a pleasure to be on here, Evan.
Good. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for today. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you did, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.